Hello there. We are back with another episode of Quiet Storm Sports. I am your host, Sutton Duff, from the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. Big shout out to all of the listeners, all of the audio listeners. If you're listening on Apple Podcasts, if you're listening on Spotify, shout out to you. If you're watching on YouTube, if you're watching on X, if you're watching on Kick, shout out to you as well. Good morning, everyone. Good morning, everyone. Yeah, we're in here early today. I didn't go live last night. I wanted to go live late last night, like really do like a quiet storm at night, but got a little bit too tired. Want to recharge the batteries a little bit. Wake up this morning and get after it. So here we are. Tim Hughes in the house says, "Woot woot in here early. What's up, Flock fam? I hope everyone had a great weekend. Had a really good weekend, man. Had a really good weekend. Hope yours was good as well." D Wiz in the house. What's going on, D Wiz? What's up? What's up? Chris M. Good morning. Good morning. Tila M. Good morning. Good morning. Appreciate you guys for coming through. We got Christina Geary in the house. Good morning. King Blaze. What's going on, my man? Point says, "Good morning, PRP." Good morning, Point. Good morning. We got some things to get into, guys. We got some things to get into. I didn't go live after the Ravens preseason finale in Landover against the Commanders. But I did post a short video. I don't know if you guys saw that, kind of giving my initial reactions to it. But this video here this morning, I want to kind of give my Ravens preseason superlatives, right? My Ravens preseason awards. So the way I want to do that, I want to give you my preseason MVP. I want to give you my biggest surprise player from the preseason. I want to give you my most improved player. And then I also want to give you my preseason hype train. So kind of like a fan favorite. That one might be a little bit obvious, but that's what I want to get into on this episode of Quiet Storm Sports. Again, make sure you like this video, subscribe to our channel as well, because football season is back officially. I mean, we're T minus what, 14 days, 2 weeks. Actually today's Monday, so yeah, 13 days actually. 13 days away from the Ravens taking on the Bills in week 1. Cannot wait. If you are new here, make sure you like this video, subscribe to the channel as well. This is a Raven-centric YouTube channel, although we do talk about other things in sports as well. So appreciate each and every one of you guys for coming through. Again, make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel. And if you're watching on X, please, this is my one request. If you're watching on X, maybe hop over to YouTube and tune into the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. You guys can see the tags down below on the screen. I'm also want to give another quick shout out to our Purple Rain patrons. Again, you guys saw them at the top of the video. Some of them are in the house right now. I said we got Tila M, who's a Purple Rain patron on this YouTube channel. Appreciate you, Tila. And then also Chris M as well. Both Purple Rain patrons, goated individuals. You guys already know the deal. Don C is another one. He's not in here right now. We got Haha Dix as well. And then Jing is another Purple Rain patron. A big shout out to every one of you guys. Does a whole bunch for us. Does a lot for us with the memberships, guys. It really does, especially going into the season. Also wanted to talk about a couple of, predictions. And I guess this will kind of be sprinkled in here throughout the video. But my predictions for who's going to make the 53-man roster for the Ravens. Right. I don't want to get into that too much, only because I'm going to be going live with Alex later today, and we're going to be breaking that down all the way. So I'm just going to give you a couple predictions there on that front, just a few. Anyway, anywho. Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Let me see. Tila M giving a shout to the Rain Gang, of course. Big family over here. Robert Krause, good morning, says Josh Allen is not going to know what the hell to do against the secondary and revamped pass rush. Man, it's going to be interesting. They beefed up, their line this year. I mean, this offseason, the Bills did. And, I'm sure that they're hoping that they can stand the test of time against, all of the daunting opponents in the AFC, specifically, again, week 1 against the Ravens. They're going to be up against it with guys like Kyle Hamilton, Nate Wiggins, Marlon Humphrey, Jair Alexander on the back end and up front. Matabike, Travis Jones on the edges, Owe and Kyle Van Noy. We'll talk about him, Mike Green. Like, yeah, I mean, on paper, the Ravens look like world beaters. They do. But we know football is not played on paper. It is played on the gridiron, on the field, right? So we're just going to have to wait and see. Because at the end of the day, all these professionals are really damn good. They're really, really damn good. So, okay. And then I also want to talk about the whole Rampage Jackson, Rajah Jackson situation. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later in the episode. So make sure you stick around for that. But let's go ahead and get into these Ravens preseason superlatives, right? So my Ravens preseason awards. Again, I want to break them down into 4 categories. Preseason MVP, biggest surprise, most improved player, and the preseason hype train. I'm going to start with the preseason hype train. Okay. Now, here's a guy who the Ravens drafted in the second round of 2025. You guys already know where I'm going with this one. But the Ravens drafted in 2025 at a premium position where the Ravens have been lacking production when it matters. And this is why this guy is going to be the fan favorite. This is why this guy has a hype train surrounding him. It's none other than, again, Ravens' second round pick, outside linebacker out of Marshall, Mike Green. Mike Green, he is going to win the preseason hype train player for me. When it comes to the Ravens, I think that the biggest reason, again, man, at edge rusher, that's the position where if you have a guy who can, and as we all say, wreck games. So when I say that, I don't mean like, a sack against, Tua and the Dolphins in the 1 p.m. window on CBS, in the first quarter. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about fourth quarter, Patrick Mahomes, Josh Allen, Joe Burrow. It's 3rd and 7 or like a 2nd and 10 or something like that. And this guy wrecks your drive. We don't necessarily have a guy who really threatens offenses like that. We don't have a guy who offenses have to slide protection towards or slide protection away and make this guy the read man and really put a point of emphasis on this edge rusher. We don't have a guy like that. As much as I do love Odafe Owe, as much as I do love a Kyle Van Noy, the Ravens don't have a guy like a Mike Green who's going to be able to really win when you need him to. They just don't. Okay? That's just what it is. 119 people in here watching, and thank y'all so much for coming through to this episode of the show. Again, if you're watching on X, shout out to you. Maybe pop over to YouTube, check us out on there as well at Purple Rain Podcast and give us a sub, maybe a like over there. But shout out to all you guys watching on X. But yeah, man. So Mike Green's going to be my fan favorite, right? And I think that Mike Green going into this season, he's gonna have a lot of opportunity to be really, really good. Because again, he's got guys in front of him. He's got Odafe Owe in front of him. He's got Kyle Van Noy. And let me also mention this really quick. Mike Green, he did not have any sacks. He did not record any sacks in the preseason. But the things that he put on film, the things that he put on tape are very, very indicative of a player who can win one-on-one outside against the tackle and get to the quarterback in a sec. Like we're talking less than 2 seconds. We're talking less than 2 seconds. With his pass rush moves, with his bend ability around the corner, we've seen it before. There was a play against the Commanders where he jumps offside, right? He jumps offside before the ball is snapped, though. So he's good. I mean, it didn't get called. So it kind of messed up his rhythm. And he still, with messed up rhythm and timing on that play, he beat the tackle around the edge and was right there around the quarterback to make the play. But the quarterback had just gotten the ball out super duper quick. It was like a one read type of play. and he got the ball out really quickly. But if he held that ball for just a split second more, Mike Green would have been there with thrown off timing coming off the line of scrimmage. But again, backing up, he's behind guys like Odafe Owe and Kyle Van Noy. So I think that he can make a very, very big impact. Or no, I know that he can make a very, very big impact, right? Coming into the game as a rotational guy, third downs, maybe in the second half when guys like Odafe Owe and Van Noy specifically are going to need a little bit of rest, right? You plug in a fresh Mike Green, and at this point, he's going to be fresh, right? Let's say you have third and long for Josh Allen, Burrow, Mahomes, whatever quarterback you want to throw back there, right? And you've got a deviant secondary, right? I mean, like there's all demons in that secondary. I just named them. I'm not going to do it again. But what I'm saying is, I think that he has an opportunity, if anything else, to get some coverage sacks this season, Mike Green. So I got high expectations for him. Very, very lofty expectations. King Blaze says Green is definitely going to get sacks with the first string. Yeah, man, that's exactly what I'm saying. That's exactly what I'm saying. Like with the first stringers, he is going to be a problem rushing the passer. I tweeted the other day, I do like him much better as a pass rusher than a run defender. So I do think that will, at least early on in his career, until he puts on a little bit more weight and he realizes what it means to play in the NFL with these other grown men. Like, you're not at Marshall anymore, right? You're playing against all professional grown men with, kids and whatnot. Like, these guys are strong, right? So, like, run defending, I'm not going to say I didn't like what I saw from him in the preseason. I thought he looked good in some spots there, but I do think that against opposing first stringers, opposing starters, yeah, he might get tossed around a little bit in the run game early on in his career until he puts on a little bit more weight. That's just my opinion. But right now he looks like more of a natural pass rusher, which is what we got him for, right? So I'm not saying that he's trash at stopping the run or anything like that. I just think that that's a part of his game that he's going to have to develop as an NFL linebacker. That's it. That's it. That's it. Let's go ahead and get over to the next superlative now. So the next one is going to be the most improved player. The most improved player. So somebody who clearly looks sharper compared to last year or earlier camps, cleaner technique, better conditioning, things like that. I'm going to have to give this one, and I had to think pretty hard about this one. But I like my pick. This one's going to go to a guy going into his year 3 with the Ravens. And he's a linebacker, another linebacker, surprise, surprise. And he's a guy who last year we put next to Roquan Smith, thinking that he would immediately assume the role and position that Patrick Queen filled, friend of the show, when he was with the Baltimore Ravens. And that didn't really happen exactly the way that Ravens fans had planned it to happen. However, I will say this. This guy, I think, made a lot of strides, especially going down the stretch of last season. And then in this preseason as well, even in camp, it's been rumored that not rumored, but it's been reported that he looks way bigger, way more shredded. And his conditioning is looking really good as well. That guy is Trenton Simpson. Trenton Simpson, give it up for Trenton Simpson, everybody. Yeah. Got to give it up for my guy, Trenton Simpson, man. I think that Trenton Simpson he's a guy for me who, how do I put this? He's a guy for me who he's not there yet when it comes to being that complete weak side linebacker next to Roquan Smith. And I know a lot of guys would probably prefer that the Ravens, potentially trade for a guy who maybe has a little bit more experience back there, things like that. But what I saw from him in this preseason are tools that he's actually already shown us he's had in years prior, but it looks like he might be able to take that next step this year. And I think there's a little bit more attention and kind of love and care on the linebacker position this year because we're going into year 2 of Zach Orr. And I think that, just a real quick aside, Zach Orr going into year 2 is absolutely huge for the entire defense, because the entire game's going to slow down for Zach Orr as a coach now. I mean, he's only going into year 2 as defensive coordinator. It's not like he's had any defensive coordinator jobs in the past. I mean, the guy's only what, 32, 33 years old? I want to say Zach Orr is young guy, very young guy, and ended the season really, really good with his defense last year. So I know going into this season, as things slowed down for him, right? You could see it in the preseason how aggressive he was. Listen, man, I think that this year, and again, this has to do with Trenton Simpson. Trust me, I'm tying it back together, because I think that this year you're going to see him have guys play uh, more freely. You know what I mean? Like the defense is going to be flying around, I think, a lot more this year than it was last year. Another thing I want to say about Trenton Simpson. Yes, he's going to be used in some packages and whatnot that I'm very excited for coming from Zach Orr. You can call Zach Orr this year Exotic Zach. Exotic Zach is going to be my nickname for Zach Orr this year, because I do believe that we're going to see a bunch of, different blitz packages, disguised coverages. We're going to have, plays where there's we did this against the Bills a lot last season. We'll put up 6 guys at the line of scrimmage, make it look like we're going to rush 6 guys. 2 guys drop out. It's really only a 4-man rush. All sorts of things, man. And I think Trenton Simpson is going to be a big, big part of that. Trenton Simpson playing in the middle, like closer to the line of scrimmage, is where he kind of excels a little bit more. I love what I saw from him in pass rushing, situations in this preseason. And I also loved what I saw in terms of the getting his hands up in pass deflections. He did this last year against the Chiefs and Mahomes in that week 1 loss. Um, but also he did it against the Commanders in the preseason game just the other day, and that led to an interception that landed in Jalen Armour Davis's hands. And again, man, I think that with him going into year 3 and really going into year 2, because again, first time you do anything, there's going to be growing pains. Last year was the first time he was actually the bona fide starting weak side linebacker, next to Roquan Smith. This year is going to be his second year going into that. So just like the game is going to slow down a little bit more for Zach Orr as a coach, I think it's going to slow down for Trenton Simpson as well. And you'll see him be a lot more impactful this season. I know the big, concern is him in pass coverage. What is he going to do? This is why I said I kind of like him playing closer to the line of scrimmage, contesting the quarterback runs and things like that, and really stuffing the holes. But again, I have all the faith and confidence in Zach Orr that he's going to put these guys in the right place. So Trenton Simpson and Roquan Smith, in order to, make plays for the Ravens and be flying everywhere. That's what I think. D-Wiz says his effort and work ethic is going to get him where he needs to be. Totally agree there. Totally agree there. But yeah, 152 people watching live right now. A lot of us watching on X. Shout out to y'all over on X. Shout out to y'all over on YouTube as well. Hila says Zach Orr year 2 is going to be a monster. Yeah, man, Exotic Zach. Exotic Zach. That's what you can call him this year. Exotic Zach, because you're going to be looking at a whole slew of scheme changes, I believe. And I think that it was kind of you could see that in the preseason, right? Like he was kind of playing around with different things, right? And of course he's messing with second stringers, third stringers, a lot of guys who probably aren't going to make the team, right? So a lot of the stuff that he was doing wasn't too exotic, but you could see in certain spots, like it looks like he's playing more chess than checkers. I think that's the best way I can put it right now. He's playing more chess this year than checkers, like he was last year. And that's scary, because when you look at the personnel that he has, and I'm going to go through it one more time. You have, let's start from the top. The safeties, right? Kyle Hamilton, who I assume is going to be playing a lot more in the box this season, and Malachi Starks, who's just like a do-it-all safety guy. You know what I mean? I expect him to be at that free safety spot Kyle Hamilton to be at that strong safety spot. I do. That's what I fully expect. Then you come down a little bit more, right? And you look at these corners. Two outside corners in Nate Wiggins and Jair Alexander and Chidobe Awuzie as well. And then you've got your nickel corner in Marlon Humphrey. Who do you pick on? Again, who do you pick on? So we've already got a dominant safety tandem. We've got a dominant cornerback room. You come down to the linebackers, right? And the linebackers is where, like, I guess you could say it's the weakest link, the weakest link. But if my weakest link position group wise is linebacker, and one of those linebackers is Roquan Smith, whose jersey I'm wearing right now, then that's a luxury. That's a luxury to me. Just like I always say, I mean, right guard being the biggest hole on your team, that's a luxury. It's a luxury. So, I, again, and when you go down to the defensive line, man, the defensive line, we're talking Nnamdi Madubuike and Travis Jones in the middle. One of those guys is going to be commanding a double. Last year, you had to double Madubuike. You had to double Madubuike last year. And that's why Travis Jones was able to get off even with a bum ankle. This year, defensive or offensive coordinator is going to be like, well, which one of these guys do we want to pay more attention to? Because Nnamdi Madubuike had 13 sacks just 2 seasons ago. He got double teamed to hell, was top 3, I think, in double teamed defensive tackles last season in the NFL. And this kid Travis Jones got off. So which guy do we pay more attention to? And oh, by the way, they got 2 double-digit sack guys starting on edge. Owe last year with 10 sacks, Kyle Van Noy with 12.5. And then by the way, they stole Mike Green in the draft. Might have been the steal of the draft. He's been putting some good stuff on tape. I mean, what do I do? And oh, by the way, again, backtracking, zooming out a little bit more. Where are we going down the field? Because everyone's covered. Like, again, I said it 20 minutes ago. On paper, the Ravens look really good. Football's not played on paper. I get that. I understand. Played on the gridiron. I get that. However, man, I just think that offenses are going to have their hands full. They're going to have their hands full. And I say all that to say, again, Zach Orman, he's going to be playing more chess than checkers. He's got the pieces. He's got the pieces all over the board to do whatever he wants, you know. So, I don't know. I'm excited. Tila M says, pick your poison on both sides of the ball. That's absolutely right. That's absolutely right. Let's go ahead and move right along here. Let's move along. 160 people watching. What's going on, y'all? Good morning. Good morning. Good morning. Let me get a little sip of my drinky drink here. It's actually not coffee in this coffee mug. It's actually an energy drink. I'm not a huge coffee guy. I tried to dabble a little bit, but just never really was my thing. Never really was my thing. All right, next one. Next award. Okay. So this one is going to be the biggest surprise. The biggest surprise. I want to know who you guys think this is going to be. If you're watching live, let me know in the chat who you think the biggest surprise player of the Ravens preseason was. Go ahead and throw it in the chat for me. I want to see what you guys are saying. But for me, I already know I like my guy on this one. I really like my guy. This is a guy. You know what's funny? It's another linebacker for me. It's another linebacker for me. Are we back? I think we might be back. I think we might be back. I think we might be back, guys. Let me know if you can hear me. Let me know if you can hear me in the chat. Wow, man, I tell you, uh, I live in an apartment, and for some reason, the energy company has been like doing work around my apartment for like the last couple of weeks. And so just randomly, like the power will just go out for like the entire complex and the surrounding complexes, right? Just like it's nothing. And it's so crazy to me that it had to do that while I was on live. So my apologies for that. Crap happens, and I didn't anticipate that happening on this early episode of Quiet Storm Sports. So shout out to you guys who are still in here rocking out with me. Again, let me check the comments here. We back. Yes, we are back. Tila, dog ate the Wi-Fi. Nah, man, I don't know. It's just this freaking energy company. This energy company who's just always doing maintenance, and it's never scheduled. It's just like there's never a notification saying, hey, like, your power might go out today at this time. Uh, for this reason. It's just they just kind of do it. So I don't know. I guess I'm at their mercy there. But that's why the evening live streams, I guess, are a little bit better because I guess this is always happening in the morning. So, but where was I? Where was I? Where was I? Where was I? Yes, that's right. I was talking about the Ravens superlatives for the preseason. And if I'm not mistaken, where I was so rudely interrupted by these technical difficulties here, um, I was talking about the biggest surprise of the Ravens preseason. The biggest surprise player of the Ravens preseason. They said at your live stream. They did. They really did. It's crazy. It's crazy. But my biggest surprise of the Ravens preseason is going to be Jay Higgins. Jay Higgins the fourth, linebacker out of Iowa. I think that Jay Higgins is a guy who, and I don't know, I've talked about a lot of linebackers. I know I talked about Trenton Simpson. I know I talked about outside linebacker Mike Green. But Jay Higgins is a guy who I feel like has to make this team. He's on the bubble. He's on the bubble, but he has to make this team. The things that I saw from him in the preseason, just he kind of plays like a, and let me know if you guys agree with this or not. But to me, Jay Higgins plays like a Madden linebacker that you're usering. So if you ever played Madden before, probably the best position that you want to user, meaning that you want to actively be able to control with your controller while you're on defense, the best position is normally either linebacker or safety. Okay, because linebacker allows you to kind of shut down any of those short routes around the line of scrimmage, the ones that are safe that people like to take. And then also, if you're a linebacker and you're using a linebacker in Madden, what do you try to do when you go to tackle somebody? You try to use that patented hit stick that came out in '05 due to how dirty Ray Lewis was doing people. And that's why he was on the cover of Madden '05. Just a little quick history lesson throwback there for you. 20 years ago. Wow. That was 20 years ago. Isn't that insane? That is wild to me. That is absolutely wild to me. That it's been 20 years since Ray Lewis has been on the Madden cover in 2005. But listen, neither here nor there. Basically, what I'm saying is that this guy is like a Madden user linebacker. Like he runs, he flies around the field, right? He's always trying to lay a big hit on somebody. He forced a fumble. He had a pick. That pick that he had against Indianapolis in that first preseason game, absolutely gorgeous, right? Like completely reads the eyes of the quarterbacks the entire way to the point where, and he's just lurking. It was literally a user lurk. It was a user lurk pick from a linebacker in Jay Higgins. I mean, that type of instinctual awareness, like to read the quarterback's eyes and really just kind of disappear in front of him, right? Like he didn't even see Jay Higgins. Can't remember exactly who the quarterback was Obviously not the starter for the Colts, but man, what I saw from Jay Higgins, man, it was truly a surprise because I was not expecting any other linebackers outside of the names of Trenton Simpson and Teddy Buchanan to really step up and show us anything at that linebacker spot. I did not expect it. I didn't expect it. He's been getting high praise from the coaches as well. I think that again, Jay Higgins has to make this team. If that's one of my roster predictions, Jay Higgins has to make the team. Period. Just point blank. Period. There's no ifs, ands, or buts about that. But okay, moving on here. I want to talk about the last one. So the last one I have for you is this: MVP, preseason MVP, most valuable player from the Ravens preseason. Who is it? Who is it going to be? Let me know down below in the comments section who you think the most valuable player from the Ravens 2025 preseason was. To me, I'm going to go with none other than Tyler Loop. I'm going to go Tyler Loop with this one. And the reason why I'm going to go Tyler Loop is because we're talking about the most valuable, right? Kicker is a position that is so valuable that they score the majority of your team's points. I think Justin Tucker is the all-time points leader for the Ravens. Being able to put 3 on the board when you couldn't get 6 is huge. And the Ravens for so long, and I've said this many times, but so have a bunch of other people. The Ravens have so long been spoiled by the production of Justin Tucker. So I think the fact that you have a Tyler Loop, who in the preseason, let me just read these stats out to you really quick. He finished the preseason 9 for 11 on field goal attempts. His only 2 misses came from 46 and 52. But he also made up for those misses as well. He hit a 61-yarder, and that was kind of the cherry on top of the preseason he hit against the Commanders. I think he provided a lot of solace for Ravens fans, that there's not going to be a huge drop-off. Again, I think that there will be some pain points, some growing pains at some points throughout the season when it comes to Tyler Loop and his kicking. But I think that Tyler Loop really, again, he made us a lot more comfortable going into this regular season that, hey, if it is a 50-plus yarder that needs to be kicked, he has the leg for it. He's got the leg for it, and he's got the accuracy. And his misses that he had, they weren't like terrible misses. I think the one from 50, I believe in the second preseason game from 51, I want to say. No, 52 he missed from. That one was like just barely left. Almost hooked itself in, but just went barely like left of the goalpost. So his misses aren't bad. His makes look really, really good. He's hitting from 60 and it looks like it could be good from 70. So the value in that the Ravens are going to take from that, I think that we're not really talking about enough. Again, and I'm on record saying this, there's going to be some growing pains. There will be some growing pains when it comes to Tyler Loop. But I think that the value that he brings in not, how can I say, not allowing the Ravens to have too much of a drop-off when it comes to kicking production, that's going to be valuable. That's going to be extremely valuable for this team. So that's going to be my most valuable player of the preseason, Tyler Loop, number 33. Hopefully, he carries this momentum and this confidence over into the regular season, specifically with starting in week 1, because in Buffalo, week 1 of the NFL season, that crowd is going to be rocking. They are not, bro. They are going to be loud. They are going to be in Tyler Loop's ear every time he steps on that field. Let it not be, a point after a touchdown. If it's not a PAT and he's got to go out there and put 3 on the board from 30 or more, that's going to be the real test. That's going to be the real test, and the barometer of how good we're going to be able to measure our kicking game this season. I think that first game is going to tell us a lot. It's going to tell us a lot. All right, let me get into this because at this point, the stream's over an hour now. We had some technical difficulties for like 20 minutes. Gonna have to find a way to cut that out on YouTube. But anyways, I wanted to get into this Rampage Jackson, Rajah Jackson, Psycho Stu situation. I don't know if you guys heard the story about what happened, but there's a guy. His name is Rajah Jackson, 25-year-old son of Rampage Jackson, Quentin Rampage Jackson, UFC legend, absolute monster. Rampage Jackson, his father is, but Rajah Jackson is 25. He's also an MMA fighter, just like his dad. And I don't know the most about him, but it seems like he's got some anger issues that he may be dealing with. And even his father, Rampage Jackson, has alluded to it as well in some of his live streams. Now, here's what happened. Rajah Jackson, just like his dad, is also a streamer. They both stream on Kick, a platform that we're actually streaming on right now. They both stream on Kick, maybe Twitch, but I think Kick is the main one. And the other day, Rajah Jackson was at an indie wrestling event, right? So an independent wrestling event, not the WWE, but some local scene wrestling event where he was backstage with some of the pro wrestlers back there. And, one of the guys who goes by Psycho Stu, he, I guess, in an attempt to create a bit or to create a scene, it was acting, it looked like, right? I know you guys have probably seen the video, but like it looked like it was like Psycho Stu was acting, and he takes a beer can and very clearly does like a stunt. It's like a stunt, right? He like acts like he's breaking it over Rajah Jackson's head. He takes the beer can and like slams it on his head, but he kind of cracks the beer can before, slamming on. It's not like he just like literally just did it full force. You know what I mean? Like you can tell it was a bit. It was part of an act, right? So after that, Rajah did not take too kindly to it at all. And, he was threatening to fight him right then and there. His boys had to hold him back. And eventually, Psycho Stu ended up like apologizing and saying, like, hey, like, I didn't know that you weren't a professional wrestler. I thought that you were part of all of this. My bad. This is just what I do. And there was a handshake there. And then later on, during the actual event of the fight, during the actual event, the wrestling match, right? Because all that happened earlier in the day. I think fast forward a few hours later at the actual wrestling event, you know, one of the promoters or somebody behind the event was talking to Rajah because Rajah still was not happy about what happened, the whole beer can getting cracked over his head, whatever, even though it was a bit, even though it was an act. But one of the promoters called Rajah and basically said, hey, like, you can get your revenge against him in the ring. You know what I mean? Like, hop in the ring, slam him, do whatever. Like, you can get your lick back, basically. Now, and again, that's up to interpretation. And I guess Rajah interpreted it. He interpreted it as like, I can go in here and I can really show this dude that I'm not to mess with, like in real life. Not with the idea of he didn't have the idea of going in there and putting on an act, because I can see him going in there, getting the double leg and then landing some fake punches or whatever, and like really like making himself look like the victor or the big guy or whatever. But here's where I think that we have to make a distinction. I don't think that you can mix MMA fighters, especially ones who have a temper, especially ones who, you kind of walk on eggshells with. He kind of seems like that type of guy who has very, very quick triggers. Like you could say one thing or do one thing and he can go off. He can just go left on you. And I've known people like that in life. But I don't think you can mix that type of person with that type of ability, fighting ability, with streamer culture, and entertainment culture, like content over everything. I don't think you can mix the two. And the reason I say that is because the whole COE, content over everything, and like streamer culture you have to have the type of personality that can take things in stride, that can take things with a grain of salt, that can laugh things off. You know what I mean? That can allow yourself to not take yourself so seriously, right? Like you have to be, especially with these IRL, these in real life streamers, like you kind of have to have that personality, like a Kai Cenat or like an I Show Speed. You know what I mean? Like there's been multiple times where people have like slighted them in public and they just kind of like laugh it off, keep it pushing, you know? But for somebody like Raja, who is an MMA fighter, clearly has some sort of like anger thing going on. His dad is literally named Rampage Jackson. Um, who is another story completely well, kind of related, but Rampage Jackson has actually fought his son before, Raja. So there's like I don't with Rampage, I don't know how he raised Raja. It's really none of my business, but it seems like they come from like a fighting background, big ego fighting background, because that's the type of guy Rampage was. So I would assume he probably passed a little bit of that down to Raja. Um, but yeah, again, I just don't think you can mix the two, like streaming culture and like MMA fighters, because MMA fighters, they don't play, right? A lot of what happens in the streamer world is play. It's kind of acting. It's for the camera. It's for the content. It's for the fans, So, but MMA guys, they have a really big ego. And once you cross a certain line, especially if they're a hothead, then, things can get a little bit unchy. Things can get very, very, the lines can get blurred when it comes to talking about what's okay to do or say and what's not. And I think that's what happened here because, you know, uh, Raja was told by one of the promoters or whatever, like, hey, like go in there and get your revenge. It's gonna look good on us because we're gonna probably go viral. Were they expecting him to do all that? And by all that, I mean, you guys, I'm sure, saw the video. He hopped in the cage. He picks up Psycho Stu, slams him to the mat, and then he just starts wailing on him. Lands like 20 plus very hard punches that he was like literally like loading up on. Like had him in full mount and just wailing on him, punch after punch after punch. It was brutal. It was brutal. But yeah, I mean, and then after he's still on live stream, he's still streaming, which kind of leads me to believe that maybe some of this is like fabricated. You know what I mean? Because like to me, if you're gonna go out there and basically assault somebody like in front of everyone, I don't really see why you're choosing to live stream yourself after the fact, like walking out of the event and walking down the street. And I, I don't know. For that reason, it kind of gives me pause. Like, is this like all scripted? Is like, was that fake? Like, did Psycho Stu say that, like, yeah, if you give me X amount of dollars, then I'll do this. I'll let you knock me unconscious and continuously punch me as long as when I wake up, you give me a big old bag of money and we can just keep this on the hush and I can say it was all a part of the act. Unless it was playing like that, then I don't really see why or how you would think it's okay to still be on live stream after all that transpired. Because what you did was just very, very illegal. Very illegal. So I don't know. But again, if it is real, I think the moral of the story is that you cannot mix the content world with, you know, MMA fighters. You can't mix content over everything and streamer culture with mixed martial artists, especially not ones who don't have a very clear control over their emotions, you know. So that's what I took from it. I want to know what you guys thought about it as well. Leave what you thought below in the comments section. I'm going to go ahead and wrap up this stream as it's about an hour and 10 in now, mainly because of those technical difficulties. Sorry about that. We'll be better on the next stream. And again, we will be live tonight at 6:30 p.m. Eastern time, talking some Ravens and talking roster cutdown predictions. So make sure you stay tuned in for that. But until then, I'm your boy Sudden Death from the Purple Rain Podcast YouTube channel. I'll catch you guys in the next one.